This wasn't just any trip. This is one we'd been wanting to do for a long time. We'd both grown up on Lord of the Rings and fantasy novels. We'd spent years talking about stories, about journeys, about adventures. And now, we finally had a chance to try our own. It wasn't an epic by most standards, but it was ours. There were challenges, sure. But there were also moments of real joy. Moments that made it feel like a dream had come to life. And for both of us, it was something special. Our journey began in the car. We were being dropped off at the head of the estate, ready to start walking. Our plan was to hike the next 3 days through the Cairngorms, carrying everything we needed on our backs. Neither of us had ever done a trip like this, and we didn't know what to expect. And it wasn't long before we got distant glimpses of where we were heading. This first part of the path was very popular, and we passed many people. This relatively busy section of the route was easy going, so we embraced the beautiful views. By this point, we had walked for hours, so decided to take a short break. Once back on our feet, we started seeing fewer and fewer people. It was at this point the path started getting trickier, but still relatively easy to handle. You gonna go for it? Cause I'm the Slim Shady, the real Slim Shady. Soon we were alone in a dense forest. It was silent. Soon, though, we had made it back to the river, and having found a good bank, decided to stop for some lunch. After a short, much-needed rest, we got back on our way. And this is where we came to our first real obstacle. The path following the river had been washed out, and so we needed to find another route. And with that detour over, we continued with our journey. And it wasn't long before we came to an opening. And it was then that we encountered the largest obstacle of the day, another washed out path. However, this time, a significant part of the trail was lost. We couldn't just do a simple reroute. We were faced with a decision. We either backtrack and take a completely different path around the mountain, or we venture along the riverbed, off track. Lucky for us, the river wasn't in spate and was still crossable. We decided to forward on. We spent the next 2 hours walking along the riverbed. The sun was getting lower and we were already tired from a whole day of walking. Having walked for hours along the riverbed, our priority was to get back to the path and then to find a suitable campsite. Fortunately, we found a bank which led back to the path. We continued along here, walking between the steep walls, and eventually we came to a river crossing. Having walked all day, we had found our campsite. We finally had a chance at the end of the day to rest. And so, we had hiked our first day. We had made it the first third of our journey, and we had thoroughly enjoyed the first stage of our adventure. The Cairngorms was stunning. Tomorrow, the plan was to dive deeper into the wilderness. As we prepared to get to sleep, we waited with excitement and nervousness for what tomorrow would bring.